Have you ever experienced a time in your life when everything seemed perfect? Your career was thriving, your family was happy, and life was generally good? Then suddenly, one negative event occurred, causing your seemingly perfect world to gradually unravel until everything fell apart? That was the case for our dear friend Ben. On August 20th, 2010, 911 received an unusual call from employees at the Vertex Spring Dive Shop in Ponce de Leon, Florida. They reported a missing person. Upon investigation, police discovered an abandoned truck and a wallet containing cash and identification belonging to a 30-year-old man named Ben McDaniel. So, what happened to Ben McDaniel? Where did he go? To uncover the full story, watch the video until the end, and please subscribe to the channel for our upcoming videos. To get the full understanding of this story, we must first know who was Ben McDaniel. Ben McDaniel, born on April 15, 1980, was the oldest of 3 siblings, growing up in Collierville, Tennessee. He was a lively and adventurous child, always eager to conquer new hobbies like rock climbing, which he often enjoyed with his younger brother Paul. Ben also had a remarkable talent for playing the piano, which he showcased during family gatherings. At 15, Ben discovered his passion for diving, practicing in his family's pool, and honing his skills throughout high school. However, when he went to the University of Memphis, where he graduated in 2004 with a degree in construction management, diving took a backseat. After graduation, Ben started his own construction company, and life seemed perfect with a happy marriage to his wife Sarah and a promising career. But in 2008, tragedy struck when Ben found his brother Paul unconscious at their parents' home in Memphis. Despite Ben's efforts, Paul couldn't be revived. Initially, he thought it was a stroke. It was later revealed that Paul died from an overdose of opioids and benzodiazepines, a discovery that devastated Ben. The guilt and grief weighed heavily on him, leading to the collapse of his marriage and his business, leaving him in debt. Moving back in with his parents, Ben accepted their offer to take a break and recover. They suggested he stay at the family's beach house in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, where he resumed diving to escape his troubles. He became more involved in the activity, frequently visiting the Vortex Spring in Ponce de Leon. The Vortex Spring. Vortex Spring is a clear freshwater spring with a 200-foot basin, gradually sloping sides, and a cave that connects the spring to the Florida aquifer. The water stays a steady 68 degrees Fahrenheit year-round and is home to various fish and wildlife, with the spring measuring about 1,642 feet in total. But what really draws divers to Vortex Spring is its ominous cave. Starting 300 feet from the main cavern, at a depth of around 115 feet, lies the entrance to the cave, marked by a haunting sign of the Grim Reaper, warning divers of the deadly risk. At 300 feet into the cave, there's a rebar gate, padlocked to keep unqualified divers out, only accessible to those with proper cave diving certification. Yet, it wasn't always this secure. During the 1990s, 13 divers lost their lives exploring the cave, prompting the state of Florida to nearly ban cave diving altogether. To curb the rising death toll, a specialized cave diving certification was introduced, bringing a temporary calm to the chaos. This strange history brings us back to when Ben McDaniel, who found solace in the eerie atmosphere of Vortex Spring. He was a frequent diver there, becoming a familiar face among the locals. However, some, like dive shop employee Chuck Cronin, noticed something unsettling about Ben. Despite having the right gear and knowledge, Ben's overconfidence made others uneasy. Yet, this new diving-focused life seemed to bring a positive change in Ben. His parents and girlfriend, Emily Greer, noticed his renewed determination to move past the traumas of the last few years and rebuild his life. But fate had other plans. Just 4 months after moving to Florida for a fresh start, Ben returned to Tennessee with Emily to visit his parents. He even spoke of his newfound optimism and plans to become a certified diving instructor, even considering getting a cave diving certification. Ben had dreams of starting a diving-related business. Sadly, those dreams would never be realized. The dive. On August 14th, Ben McDaniel left a heartfelt note at home, thanking his parents for their unwavering support over the past few years. He promised to take care of them in their old age, a vow that would tragically never be fulfilled. Just 4 days later, on August 18th, Ben returned to Vortex Spring. On the day Ben McDaniel vanished, witnesses noticed him closely inspecting the area around the cave entrance at Vortex Spring, almost as if he was planning something. Later that day, he resurfaced to refill his tanks at the dive shop, a transaction captured on the security cameras. Afterward, he spent a significant amount of time beside the spring, testing his equipment and jotting down notes in his dive log. As evening approached, two employees, Chuck Cronin and Eduardo Taran, spotted Ben descending into the water, his helmet light piercing the dark depths. It was clear he was about to explore the cave. Taran, who had long suspected that Ben had been forcing the cave's gate open, decided to unlock it for him, allowing Ben to venture further into the abyss. Tragically, this would be the last time anyone ever saw Ben McDaniel alive. The following morning, Ben's truck remained untouched in the parking lot, but the area was crowded with summer visitors, so no one initially noticed his absence. It wasn't until the morning of August 20th that employees grew concerned and called the home county sheriff office to report Ben missing. Authorities quickly sealed off the area with crime scene tape, suspecting that Ben had met a tragic fate. Inside the truck, they found his wallet with $1,100 in cash, his cell phone, and some dive logs. The logs revealed that Ben had been mapping out the cave system, leading everyone to believe that he had become trapped and drowned in the dark, narrow passageways. Experienced volunteer divers were called in to search the underwater cave system, but despite their efforts, they found no trace of Ben. By August 22nd, with no signs of him, a desperate call for help went out to Ed Sorensen, a veteran cave diver with over 2,500 logged dives. Sorensen arrived at the Vortex Spring the next day, determined to find Ben, even though he was warned of the cave's extreme danger. He made 3 dives, going 1,700 feet into the cave, 200 feet further than any area Ben had mapped in his logs. Yet, despite his thorough search, Sorensen found nothing. He noted that the last sections of the cave were untouched, without any marks indicating that a diver had been there. As the search continued, Ben's family became increasingly desperate. They poured their financial resources into the search, hiring Steve Keane, who had originally mapped the Vortex Spring Cave in 2003, to search for their son. After 7 dives, Keane apologized to the McDaniels, admitting that he couldn't find any signs of Ben. The McDaniels even offered $54,000 to cover the cost of a remotely operated underwater vehicle, ROV, from the Fort Lauderdale police to search the cave. But this too yielded nothing. In total, 16 divers spent 36 days searching for Ben's body, all in vain. The volunteer searches continued for months afterward, but the cave refused to give up its secrets. Despite the exhaustive search, no trace of Ben McDaniel was ever found, leaving his disappearance a chilling mystery that continues to haunt those who seek the truth. In 2013, the state of Florida issued a death certificate for Ben McDaniel, hoping to help his family find some closure. But to this day, no one knows what happened to Ben McDaniel, and his body has never been found, leaving the eerie waters of the Vortex Spring shrouded in mystery and fear. Controversies around the disappearance. As the search for Ben McDaniel dragged on, doubts began to creep in. Some wondered if his body was even in the cave at all. Whispers circulated that maybe someone had secretly removed his remains before the authorities were alerted. Others, including Cronin, speculated that Ben might have staged his disappearance, leaving behind his troubled past to start a new life under a different identity. The McDaniel family, however, grew increasingly frustrated with the limitations of the search. Convinced that Ben's body was trapped in some hidden, unexplored part of the cave, they offered a $10,000 reward to any diver brave enough to venture in the cave's most remote and dangerous pockets to find him. This insinuation, that the previous divers hadn't been courageous enough to find their son, didn't sit well with those who had risked their lives searching for Ben. It alienated many who had been supportive of the family's efforts. Despite warnings that reward might tempt divers to take dangerous, reckless risks, the McDaniels ignored the criticism. They even increased the reward twice. By March 2012, the reward had swelled to $30,000. Tragically, the fears of many were realized when a Mississippi diver named Larry Higginbottom died in the cave while trying to locate Ben's body. Faced with intense criticism, the McDaniel family finally withdrew the reward, acknowledging that it only served to endanger those driven by the promise of money. To this day, No evidence has surfaced regarding what happened to Ben McDaniel. Some believed he is still trapped within the cave's uncharted crevices, waiting to be found. Others are convinced Ben meticulously planned his disappearance and is living somewhere under a new identity, far from the life he left behind. The truth remains elusive, a haunting mystery that may never be solved. So, that was all about the sudden and tragic missing of Ben McDaniel. What do you think happened to him? If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to our channel for more in-cave frightening experiences.